So hello students, welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy. So since past few days we have been discussing and analyzing the previous year questions, particularly how we can structure those previous year questions. So from today onwards we are going to have some special sessions on how can we give our best in the personality test of the UPSC. So we all know that UPSC has declared mains results. So from now onwards the score of the candidates in the interview will decide the post overall selection of the candidate. So therefore in this context, interview or the personality test holds a lot of significance. So if you correctly understand now, if you basically know about the personality test of the UPSC, generally few candidates score very good marks, or there are a few more candidates who score relatively less number of marks. Okay, so what exactly makes this difference? Why few candidates have been making they're giving their best in the interview, while on the other hand, even though they have a very good profile, even though they have written hobbies and extracurricular activities, everything exceptionally well, academic score, even then also they are not able to score good marks. Okay, so there are multiple reasons for the same. When we talk about the personality test, it actually tests the personality of the candidate. See, I myself have given UPSC interview. Okay, so in my interview, there's a lot difference between what generally mock test, the questions which are asked in the mock test, and what the panel members ask in UPSC actual interview. Okay, now before actually starting this discussion on DAF analysis, how we can prepare the detailed analysis form, and because it helps a lot in our examination. Okay, so particularly the interview stage, the detailed application form helps a lot for all the candidates. Okay, so in this context, I hope that you all know that UPSC has 3 stages: prelims, mains and personality test. Okay, in the prelim stage we have 2 papers, and general studies paper 1, paper 2, and in the mains we have 1 essay paper, 2 language papers, and the 4 general studies paper and 2 optionals. Okay, so together all these papers will make 1750 marks. Okay, so for interview it is 275 marks in total. Okay, so in generally UPSC conducts personality test for 275 marks. So generally students score relatively, top candidates in interview score around 200 marks. So 206 is considered as one of the highest marks in the history of the personality test, and every year 1 or 2 candidates usually score around 206 or something. Okay, so the main target should be not to score too many marks in the interview. So the focus should be every candidate should ideally score around 190 marks, because that is the score that will really help you to clear this exam with a very good rank. Okay, so that is very important. So in this context, how can we make sure that we will be getting good marks in the interview? For example, you have performed better in your mains exam, and if your interview preparation is not good, if you fail to identify your mistakes in the interview, you will not be in the list. Okay, that would be a lot painful for you. So the major focus would be on improving your personality, sharpening your existing knowledge, existing skills, so that you will be getting good marks in the UPSC personality test, and that will guarantee your ultimate selection. So that is very important in this context. Okay, so we all know that UPSC every year conducts personality tests for the candidates who have cleared the mains examination. So once they have cleared the mains examination, so UPSC announces the schedule and UPSC will conduct the personality test for those candidates. So ideally UPSC conduct the personality test for 30 to 40 minutes for every candidate. Now if UPSC board members interested in asking questions to the candidate, I mean the candidate has been giving good response to every question that is being asked by the board members, then the board members would like to test the candidate further. So therefore the board members would ask more and more questions to that particular candidate. Okay, so if I tell you my experience about the UPSC interview board, so it is a very cordial board. Okay, so it was very cordial, and every member was smiling, so they were asking questions so that were not making me uncomfortable. Generally we see in mock interviews. Okay, so very simple questions, and they're not expecting exceptional answers from you. So they are expecting an administrator kind of a behavior, a good administrator kind of a character. Okay, so and basic knowledge about things. So for example, they are asking questions about e-governance. So what exactly is the e-governance? So what are the applications of e-governance? And recently the national education policy was also on news. So they've asked questions on national education policy. So therefore UPSC members specially focuses on issues which are of day-to-day importance, okay, which are recently in news. For example, we very often hear that the UPSC board members ask questions from the candidates from that particular day's newspaper. Okay, so therefore along with the detailed application form the candidate fills after the prelims examination, I mean those candidates who are going to give the mains examination along with the candidates who are going to give the interview or the personality test. Okay, there are two DAFs, DAF 1 and DAF 2. So UPSC will ask questions from both DAF 1 and DAF 2. Now, so when it comes to UPSC personality test, so one thing we need to understand, that is the candidates will get a very limited amount of time. Now if you look at the time span between the prelims and mains examination, you would ideally get around 90 days. But when it comes to the interview, you would get a very limited amount of time. And particularly those candidates who are freshers, who are giving their interviews for the first time, they have a very limited and a very short period of time. So therefore in this context they should have to sharpen their existing skills in order to face the actual interview. Okay, so in order to face the actual interview they have to sharpen their existing skills, they have to sharpen their knowledge. So because that is very important, and they have to work a lot on the DAF, because DAF is a document based on which the board members would ideally know about you. So what you have done in your school days, college days, and what are your hobbies, what are your interests, so what is your academic background, whether you are completely focusing on education or your academic grades, or do you have any other extracurricular activities. For example, few candidates are interested in music, dance, and few candidates also have interest in other activities. For example, they are working in NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and few people working with the tribals for the conservation of nature, everything. So therefore, ideally it provides an opportunity for the board members to know about you. So what is you other than your academic excellence, your academic background, because that is very important in getting the board members understand about you. Okay, so after that, generally candidates they have selected for the mains examination, they generally join mock interviews. Okay, so what is the utility, what is the actual utility of these mock interviews? Well, these mock interviews will definitely help you gain confidence while entering into the actual while facing the actual interview, because that is very important. When you enter into the interview room and you are very nervous and you're not able to face the board members, so that creates a sort of a negative opinion about you. So therefore it is very important that you are very confident about yourself and you're very confidently addressing the questions which are asked by the board members. So that is where it makes the difference. For example, imagine a candidate who have not given even a single mock interview. On the other hand, there are candidates who have faced multiple mock interviews, not too many, but ideal number is around 4 to 5 mock interviews, not more than that. So there are candidates who have faced interview, so they get to know what exactly the board members have been looking and what kind of questions they are asking from the detailed application form. And once they get to know about all these things, they will feel confident. So because of this reason, they join mock interviews. So therefore it is very important that you gain confidence to face the board members, to face the questions which are generally asked by the board members. So ideally you can join 4 to 5 mock interviews offered by any other coaching institute. So in ourself, Bajirao IAS Academy has also been offering the mock interviews for UPSC interview giving candidates. Okay, so we are going to have good panel members, experienced panel members. They'll be asking very good questions which actually reflect in the actual interview. So therefore it is very important that you attend any mock interview, you face any mock interview before attending the actual interview. Okay, so that helps you give some sort of a confidence. Now after that, interview is actually a personality test. So generally it is said that the name of this interview is a personality test. It checks the personality. Because of this reason, generally the detailed application form have various aspects related to an individual. For example, where he is from and what is his academic credentials. So what are his other interests other than his academic things. So therefore interview usually checks the personality of a candidate. So therefore it is considered as a personality check or the personality test. And the overall objective of the personality test is to check the suitability of the candidate, whether the candidate is really suitable for this role, whether the candidate is really suitable as an administrator. Okay, so because you are going to play a very crucial role in the Indian bureaucracy, you are going to have a lot of responsibilities. So therefore it is also very important that whether you are suitable for this particular role will be checked. Now after that, we all know that those candidates who have been facing interviews, so they have a lot of knowledge because they have gone through the toughest phases of this exam, like prelims exam and mains examination. So therefore these candidates are going to have a lot of knowledge. So since they have a lot of knowledge, generally board members look for the other things. Other things means the interest, the hobbies. So everything will be looked into by the board members. So therefore in this context, when you are writing your interests, when you're writing your hobbies, you just keep in mind that whatever you know, so whatever field in which you are well versed, just mention them. Okay, so there's no rule that you don't have too many hobbies, you don't have too many interests, so that creates a negative opinion among the minds of the board members, so you'll get low marks. So there's no rule about that, but you have to be as honest as possible with the board members, so because that is very important when it comes to facing the board members. Now if I can tell you that in one of the interviews, the former chairman of UPSC, DP Agarwal sir, so he directly said that you should have at least 1 or 2 hobbies. So you should have interests other than your academic career, because that is very important in the candidate is not just involved in studies or not just involved in academic aspects, but he also has some interests other than his education. Okay, so therefore it is very important, there's no need that you have to write too many hobbies, and when UPSC board members asked about the questions on those hobbies, and you just not able to address those questions. So be honest, be genuine. So whatever you know, so you just write in the detailed application form. So after that, when you attend these mock interviews, they'll give you a personalized and accurate feedback about these interviews. So what exactly your shortcomings, it is very important, because please remember, when you attend any mock interview, in the mock interview, generally experienced candidates are the members of the mock interview. So therefore they'll give a very personalized kind of an accurate feedback. So therefore that will help you in working on those shortcomings. So when you work on those shortcomings, improving on the feedback given by the board members, so definitely you perform better in your actual interview, because that is actually the essence. Okay, so after that, there are a lot of institutes which actually provide the mock interviews. Okay, so Bajirao IAS Academy is also going to provide mock interviews. So therefore you just contact the institute and attend the mock interviews. So we are offering these mock interviews for free of cost. So along with the mock interviews, we are also going to provide one-to-one guidance. So we have candidates who have given the interviews, so they'll share their experience. If you are a fresher, and they'll share you their experience, so that will definitely help you improve your overall performance in the interview. Because ultimately, so when you learn new things, and when you have polished your already acquired skills, that definitely makes a lot of difference in your preparation. Okay, so apart from that, when you are answering questions in actual UPSC interview, okay, so when you are facing the actual UPSC interview, so it is very important that you have to give crisp and concise answers. So don't try to give lengthy answers. Okay, so you should not have to give lengthy answers, because that creates some sort of a negative opinion. So make sure you give to the point, brief, concise and crisp answers. And it would be better if you prepare a short note on the various aspects. For example, if I can tell you that you are from one particular state, you are from Bihar, so definitely there will be questions on Bihar. So what are the burning issues in Bihar? So what are the major problems, what are the major challenges Bihar has been facing in the current period? So they'll definitely ask questions from that particular area, so you have to be prepared. Okay, so they'll ask from your district, they'll ask from your state, and even there are questions which are generally asked from the DAF itself. Okay, so we'll discuss that later. Okay, now in UPSC personality test, generally the board members look for the candidates who dress appropriately for the situation. Okay, so obviously you're not going for the marriage, or you're not going for any function or any party. So therefore UPSC members also look that whether the candidate is appropriately dressed or not. Now after that, whether the candidate arrives in good time. So generally all the candidates arrive at a good time, and body language is also very important. So when I say body language, it generally means that the candidate is confident, whether the candidate is lying about his hobbies, interests, which are mentioned in the detailed application form. So the UPSC board members will observe the body language very keenly. So when they observe the body language of the candidate, they get to know that whether the candidate is lying or he is honest or genuine. But my suggestion would be humble. Okay, so be humble and make sure that you're very honest and genuine about what you have written in the detailed application form. And it is also very important that you have to expect the unexpected things also in the UPSC interview. So see, because when I faced the mock interviews, generally in most of the mock interviews, the panel members used to ask questions from detailed application form. So detailed application form from my state. So surprisingly, very few questions were asked by the UPSC members from my DAF. They mostly focused on my optional subject. Okay, so they mostly asked questions from my optional subject, and they've asked the current issues, so that were in news since last 1 month of my interview. So therefore you have to expect the unexpected things, because you don't know from where they'll ask questions. They'll ask questions from your DAF, even they'll ask questions about your district, about your father, about your mother. Okay, so if they are engaged in any particular profession, and they even ask questions on your employment. If you are an employee, they'll also ask questions about that. Okay, so therefore you have to be prepared for everything. Okay, so make sure that you are prepared for everything. So how do you prepare for everything? For example, you have a detailed questionnaire on everything which is mentioned in the DAF. That is very important. So you regularly refer the newspaper. For example, you can refer either the Hindu or the Indian Express. So generally candidates who have been giving interviews, they refer two newspapers. Okay, Indian Express and the Hindu. So they refer two newspapers, but I would like to advise you that you can refer either the Hindu or Indian Express, but if you have time, you can refer both the newspapers. So therefore you have to expect the unexpected. Now if you are well prepared, if you have some basic idea about your hobbies, interests, your optional subjects and everything, so that gives some sort of a confidence that okay, I can address any question which is asked by the board members. So that is also very important in actually building your confidence. So after that, the body language is also very important. How can you build the body language? Now when you prepare, when you attend more and more mock interviews, you get to know about the body language. Okay, so please also take care about that. Okay, so dress appropriately. Okay, so there's no need to tell what to wear during interview. So either you can prefer a coat, a tie. Okay, so that would be enough. And so what exactly is the detailed application form? So it is very important that we need to understand the detailed application form in a comprehensive manner, so that we can prepare, we can expect questions from the detailed application form. So generally after the prelims examination, those candidates who are going to give the mains exam, UPSC will ask them to fill a detailed application form. Okay, so it is one of the most crucial component of the overall UPSC selection. So it plays a very important and very key role in the overall UPSC selection process. So because through this detailed application form, UPSC or the members of an interview board generally evaluate and assess the suitability of the candidate. So how they can assess the suitability of the candidate? Because this detailed application form will have every minute detail about you. So where you are from, so if you are employed, where you are employed, and what is your academic background, and what you're doing now, and what are your interests, what are your hobbies, so and which category you belong to, which part of India you belong to. So everything is clearly written in the detailed application form. So through this detailed application form, the board members used to ask questions. So through your answers, the board members will get to know the suitability of the candidate for that particular administrative positions in the government. Okay, so that particular positions in the suitability of the candidate in administrative positions. Okay, so what are the points we should focus more? For example, in the detailed application form after the prelims examination, now if you are going to appear for the mains examination, you give some personal information about you. So first, personal information in the sense that your academic background, your graduation, intermediate, your matriculation, and if you are employed, where you are employed, and what is your salary. Okay, so what is your work experience, so what are your interests, what are your hobbies. So these interests and hobbies or extracurricular activities generally not asked after the prelims examination, but if you clear mains examination, UPSC will ask you to fill those extracurricular activities. So therefore the personal information is also very important. For example, you are from a district in Maharashtra, Vidarbha. So Vidarbha is generally known as a drought prone area. So since it is a drought prone area, you have to expect few questions from Vidarbha. So the condition of the farmers in Vidarbha, why farmer suicides are more in Maharashtra. So you have to keep track of these events. Okay, so personal information is very important. Now after that, the educational information is also very important. For example, why I say educational information, you may be the topper of the institution. Okay, you may be the topper of the university, or you getting a very low score. Okay, so I mean, you have coming from any exceptional institute, so therefore it creates some sort of a curiosity in the minds of the board members. So therefore you should also prepare a few things about when your university was established. So okay, so and other things related to your university, and any other alumni from your university or your institute. These are all the things generally board members usually ask. Now after that, the parental information is also very important. For example, your parent may be already a civil servant. Okay, so your parent may be a doctor and a farmer. Okay, so for example, if your parent is a farmer, so you expect questions in why farmer earn a lesser income, why the condition of Indian agriculture is comparatively poor than China. So you can expect those questions based on your parental information as well. So therefore you have to have a set of questions so that reflect, or that can give you some a basic idea about what to do, or how can we address those questions. Now after that, the employment information is also very important. Since UPSC has become a long journey, several candidates are already taking up employment and side by side preparing for this examination. So therefore employment information also plays a very crucial role in UPSC. For example, few individuals are coming from the private sector and few individuals are coming from the public sector as well. So some of the individuals are already serving as an IPS and IRS officers, and they are preferring IAS. So in this context, it is very important that you should know about the organization. You should know about the work culture in the organization. So why you are aspiring for the highest civil servant, so aspiring to become a highest civil servant in this country. So everything will be asked by the UPSC board members. Now after that, the documents have to be uploaded and final submission of the documents. All these phases will be done side by side. Okay, so what are the important categories that UPSC asks in the detailed application form? Now when you are filling detailed application form, you mention about your prizes, medals and scholarships and your optional subjects. So please remember, when I say that UPSC assess the suitability of the candidates based on the detailed application form, it is because, so when you win prizes, for example, you have participated in a competition, you won the prize, and UPSC board members may ask about that particular competition. What exactly is the competition? And when UPSC board members ask you a question on this, so they get to know that whether you have really won the prize on that particular category. Okay, so they ask you questions and they test you, and you write about medals and scholarships which you have already won. Now after that, the optional subject, one of the very 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 important aspect. Okay, so majority of the UPSC members, UPSC boards will ask you a lot of questions on your optional subject. So if you are from political science and international relations, optional, sociology optional. Okay, so why? Because these optionals, particularly the political science and international relations optional, is usually considered as a very dynamic subject. So since it is a very dynamic subject, you expect that UPSC board members will link the theory part with the happenings, the current happenings across the world. So therefore you expect more and more questions from your optional subject. So you have to be well prepared. Okay, so you have to be well prepared for your optional subject. Okay, so when you are able to answer the questions which are asked by the board members, then there's a probability that you will get good marks. And after that, the right choice, you will get the opportunity to choose either English or your regional language. If it is a regional language, there will be a translator who used to translate what you have said to the board members. Okay, so there's no problem about that. And you would also write about your extracurricular activities and interests and hobbies. For example, a large number of candidates write about playing chess, playing cricket, vipassana yoga, practicing, and so many things. So many things they will write in their detailed application form. So therefore it is very important and very crucial that UPSC board members will also ask more number of questions on your extracurricular activities. Okay, so for example, few candidates write traveling as a hobby, few candidates write apart from traveling, few candidates also write about self-riding of bikes, or spending time with friends, everything. So but make sure that your hobbies or your extracurricular activities are not very vague. Okay, so they are not vague, so they are at least making sense. And also you can write these hobbies and extracurricular activities in such a manner that you can answer those questions, any question the board members will ask. Okay, so in that way you will be assessed, you will be tested, and you will score very good marks. Now after that, the educational details are also very important. Okay, so generally on educational details you can expect a less number of questions by the UPSC board members, but educational details are also very important. And you focus on your employment details. See, this is very very important. So your optional, your extracurricular activities, interests, hobbies, and your employment details. For example, if you are from a public sector, you will be asked a very good number of questions from your organization. Okay, so why you are leaving that particular job, why you are getting into the IAS or IPS. So therefore it plays a very important role. You have to prepare well for this topic as well. Okay, so all these things which we have discussed holistically come together to define you for the board. Okay, so it will overall define you for the board. So therefore it is important to put the best version of yourself on paper. Okay, so this generally means of course you will put your best version on paper. So whatever you have put your best version on the paper, you have to be prepared, and you have to keep in mind, you have to expect the unexpected. Okay, so because this is the mantra of the UPSC, since UPSC has become more and more unpredictable, so you have to go by the principle that expect the unexpected, particularly in the interview stage. Now in this context, what should be the strategy to fill the I hope you all of you have already filled the detailed application form, but here the strategy to face the interview. So what should be the strategy to face the interview? Okay, so I hope all of you have filled the detailed application form, but the strategy to face the UPSC interview. So first and foremost rule is do not lie, because so the individuals who are sitting in front of you are far more experienced. Since they are far more experienced, they know about everything. Okay, so they know whether you are lying or whether you are honest or genuine. So therefore do not lie on your whatever you have mentioned in the detailed application form. So you have to be honest as much as possible, you have to be genuine. And the other thing is that when UPSC board members ask a question, so please understand the question first. Okay, so don't overreact or don't react very quickly. Just understand what is the question. Okay, so it feels odd when you ask the same question again, so therefore listen the question carefully and try to answer the question in a brief and concise manner. So therefore that will help you create a good impression on you, on the board members. Okay, so that will really help you. Now other thing is that when you are answering questions about your educational history, your degrees, your institutions or years of study, so be very careful about that. So provide accurate information, clear information, and justify. For example, a very common question that UPSC generally ask is that there are candidates who have done their graduation several years ago. So what have you been doing since then? Okay, so you just have to give your honest answer. So it should not be like a cooked answer. So that gives some sort of a negative impression on you. Okay, so therefore you have to give some basic idea. You have to have some basic idea, and you have to answer those questions in a honest and a confident manner, and that is very important. Now after that, when you write the prizes and sports and leadership positions in your college, in your university, so UPSC board members will also ask questions from that particular aspect. Okay, so whether the candidate is really played or really won these prizes, really played the leadership role, or he's just writing here. Okay, so I mean, if you are uncomfortable answering those questions, generally it creates some sort of a negative impression on you. Okay, so that will also reflect in your actual marks. Okay, so that will also reflect in your actual marks. So now after that, the other important note that we need to understand is that write things in a way that board wants to question you on them. Okay, so that is very important, because if you know about few things, and you can write those things in your detailed application form, because when the board members ask you a question on this, so you can confidently address them. And that is very important, and that is very essence. So give them something to go on. So give them something so that the board members can ask you questions from that particular field. Okay, and you have to prepare everything about your previous employment. What are your roles, what are your responsibilities? So you prepare a detailed questionnaire on that, and prepare so that when you are facing actual interview, you can address those questions in a simple manner. Okay, and also make sure, don't forget this rule, that when you are answering those questions, be concise, short and simple. So that is very important. So when you are explaining things in a concise and simple way, it saves the time of the board members, and it also provides them to ask more questions, so thereby exploring you more. So that creates some sort of a good opinion. Now after that, when you are writing interests and hobbies, don't mention some open-ended interests or hobbies. Okay, so it is generally very important that you prepare everything related to your hobbies, your interests, but uh, be careful about the vague hobbies. Okay, so for example, watching movies, watching documentaries, so those are a few hobbies or few interests which generally never create a good impression in the minds of the in the minds of the board members, and UPSC board members also don't ask questions from that particular area. Okay, for example, there are candidates who generally write interesting hobbies. For example, swimming. So when you have written swimming as a hobby, it is very important. Any a sports person from India who have won any medals in Asian Games or Commonwealth Games or Olympics, who is the candidate who has won the highest medals in the Olympics, so they can ask questions on those aspects. So therefore I would like to suggest you that you have to be prepared on every of these aspect. Okay, and the other major aspect is that most of the candidates prefer their home cadre, so that have to be given in your detailed application form too. So therefore most of the candidates give the home cadre, and if someone gives the cadre other than the home cadre, so you have to be prepared. So why you are giving the cadre which is generally opposite than most of the candidates? And after the cadre, few candidates choose IPS over IAS, few candidates choose IFS over IAS and IPS. So you have to be prepared for that. For example, if you generally choose IAS as a cadre, as a first preference, UPSC board members never ask a question that why you choose IAS. But if you prefer IPS or Indian Forest Service over IPS, then definitely you can expect few questions on that, because UPSC board members so wanted to know that you really interested in that. Okay, so you are really passionate about so what you're going to choose, so that plays a very important role. Okay, and be careful about the information which is in the DAF. So there are some priority things in the DAF or detailed application form. Give more weight, more time about those things. For example, your optional subject, your previous employment, or your any leadership position, your cadre if it is different, if it is significantly different. So therefore all these things will play a very important and very crucial role in your interview marks. Okay, however, so the other most important aspect when we talk about the UPSC interview, it is current affairs. Okay, current affairs have a very good weightage in the UPSC interviews. Generally 30 to 35% of UPSC interviews based on the current affairs. So therefore, for example, UPSC will ask any number of questions on current affairs, since they regularly follow those issues. So if you are from one particular state, for example, if you are from Manipur, and UPSC will ask things about Manipur, UPSC will ask questions about Northeast insurgency. So therefore current affairs plays a very important role. So what we are doing in Bajirao IAS Academy, that we are going to discuss the day-to-day relevant current affairs for UPSC interview from tomorrow onwards, so that you will have a quick glance over things which are happening and which are very important for UPSC personality test. For example, if you miss few things in the news, that can be covered in our lectures. Okay, so this is particularly to help you gain some sort of insights into the day-to-day current affairs, so that our overall objective is that you can perform better in your actual interview, and you will also get selected. Okay, so from tomorrow onwards we will be regularly discussing the current affairs that are particularly relevant or that can be particularly asked by the UPSC board members. Okay, so we are working on that. Now apart from that, if you ask me how to approach the current affairs for UPSC interview, I have already suggested you that you can choose either the Hindu or Indian Express newspaper, or if you have time, so you can refer both. Now apart from that, at least 1 hour a day, so you can watch the news. Okay, so you can watch news from DD India. Now after that, you can see perspective that is mentioned, that is regularly conducted in the that Sansad television. Okay, so apart from that, these things are enough. Regularly follow the newspaper, that is very important. Okay, so even if you don't do those things, but regularly refer the newspapers. Okay, so that offer insights. And the other thing is that regional news are also very important, so at least prepare a few things related to your region, your state. Okay, so the UPSC may ask questions from your region as well. Okay, as I have already told you that Bajirao IAS Academy has been offering the mock interviews. Okay, so you can get the best experience, so you can gain a lot of confidence while facing your actual UPSC interview, because we are going to work on your detailed questionnaire, and we are going to provide a mock interview free of cost, and we are going to provide a 1-to-1 session with experienced candidates who can give important insights, and that will help you tackle your actual interview, and will also help you score more than or around 190 marks. Okay, so that ensures your overall and final selection. Okay, so that's all for today, and as I have already told you that from tomorrow onwards we are going to discuss the important and relevant current affairs for UPSC interview 2023. Okay, so thank you so much.